Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're well. A few minutes ago, I put this new post on zinireport.com with the title, "This Trump executive order will allow military officers to join the police department." Now, this executive order is already being misinterpreted as Trump taking over police departments so that his people can enforce their draconian and illegal immigration policies. But there's a catch, and I have to say this before I explain what that catch is. There's too much activity among the media reporting on what Trump executive orders do without checking by simply searching for what that executive order does with, is this legal, to determine if it's legal, and therefore finding out, hey, that Congress is the real power because it has the power of the purse and the power of authority. And if something is done, you will find out in terms of executive order, you'll find out very quickly that the president doesn't actually have the power to make that executive order stick. And you will find in many cases that the executive order is actually illegal. But the Trump administration is banking on the media and you not checking. There was a time in my life, perhaps not yours, where the media would have checked something like this. And it was during the 80s when there was fewer media outlets and therefore more money flashing around because the population only had a handful of sources to go to. Now there are thousands of sources of media, and therefore the money on a per media basis is less. So it's harder and harder and harder to pay for investigative reporting. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. In fact, CBS News used to take a loss on, or CBS used to take a loss on CBS News because CBS had the perspective that the kind of deep investigative reporting CBS News was known for then was important to the public good. They stopped that in 1981. That's another long story. Now, but it did lead to where we are today, with virtually no fact-checking being done, and no fact-checking being done on a mainstream media level at all. So, with all that, it's important here to note that this disclaimer I put here on the Zinni Report article, and it's not a derogatory one, it's a presentation of fact. Author's note: some believe Trump is using this to weaponize local law enforcement to remove people considered illegal aliens, even if they're not. But the fact is, the federal government can't supersede local law enforcement actions. The federal government cannot directly supersede or commandeer state or local law enforcement agencies to enforce federal laws or directives. This principle is rooted in the 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution and something called the anti-commandeering doctrine. While the federal government can influence state and local law enforcement through grants, agreements, and by acting as a de facto partner in investigations, they cannot force local authorities to take specific actions. And I added, with Trump executive orders, it's always important to check his proposal via internet search to determine if what's proposed is legal. The media is giving too much power to President Trump because it's not fact-checking what he does. And then but I'm going to add that disclaimer from now on because a lot of what Trump has done has gotten traction because the media split it out there as if, well, he can do this and he's got this power and he's acting like a king. Well, no, he's putting it out there thinking that you're going to believe he's a king even though he's not, and think that America can be rolled over and that democracy can be killed. And so now you get Democrats, and I'm a Democrat, but I'm not saying it, saying, well, democracy is dead. Democracy isn't dead, folks. We just have a lot of people who don't know their own government. Think about that when you look at school curriculums and you realize there's no one teaching government. And think about that every single time you hear about the president's executive order and that person on the television generally, or the small screen, in some cases like YouTube, where you do find television organizations, mainstream ones like, say, CBS or KTVU locally, not telling you in Oakland, not telling you what the power of the executive branches versus the Congress versus the Supreme Court, right? You don't hear that. And then let's not forget the power of the fourth estate. It's the job of media to tell how America works. Mainstream media is failing at doing that. Subscribe to the Vlog Report with Zenny62 on YouTube, Zenny62 on YouTube, and bookmark ZennyReport.com. Thank you. And by the way, invest in what we do. Your PayPal donation, if you ask for a particular vlog to be made promoting you or your business, is tax deductible.